Today we're at the SIL National Landscape Discovery Centre, where we have our Trailblazer Delia Derbyshire Festival. It's a 2-day festival. We've got an exhibition with new commissions featuring artists inspired by Delia Derbyshire's work. We've got Carnival of Monsters, which are replicas of Doctor Who monsters from the classic series of Doctor Who. And we're also doing some screenings of Doctor Who's first episode and a lovely feature called Masters of Sound, where Delia Derbyshire talks about how she made the Doctor Who theme tune. We've got a make your own synth workshop and also a tape looping workshop where you can find out how analogue tape was cut, edited and pieced together. So there's lots to see and do over this 2-day festival.
This weekend has been great. It's been really different. We've had a completely different type of visitor in. They've been coming and looking at Doctor Who monsters, singing Doctor Who tunes, making synthesizers. Real good fun to join in with this sort of national celebration of 60 years of Doctor Who via Delia Derbyshire.
Kit and I are the directors of Greencroft Arts, and we live in Gilsland, and we didn't realise that Delia Derbyshire actually moved to Gilsland when she left the BBC Radiophonic Workshop. We were so interested in this little known fact and little known story that we wanted to put on an exhibition which aligns with the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Delia Derbyshire was an electronic sound pioneer. She worked at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, primarily making sounds for TV and radio, but her most well-known work was arranging the theme tune to Doctor Who.
Without Delia, we wouldn't have the Doctor Who theme tune. She is one of the trailblazers of that.
Today, what we've got at the SIL, we've got a mix of replica and screen-used monsters from Doctor Who. I brought a few odds and ends of original screen-used props and pieces, and we've also got director Graham Harper from Doctor Who, who's directed some of the best episodes of Doctor Who, and we've got Margot Hayhoe, who worked with the first 5 actors who played Doctor Who. What more could you want? It's fantastic.
Throughout my career coming up through the ranks, worked on quite a few Doctor Who's as an assistant floor manager, a first assistant director, and then eventually I started to direct Doctor Who. I think this weekend is enlightening because of the setting up here in Northumberland, a fantastic venue for a sci-fi exhibition.
Well, my involvement today here at the SIL, we used to come and meet people and have a chat about how life was working on Doctor Who. Such a fun show to be able to work on.
Doctor Who resonates, it has an excitement. I think it also just taps into people's imaginations in a way that a lot of other programmes don't. And it's a broad spectrum. It deals with history, future, past, present. It's just a fabulous show.
The temporary exhibition area looks absolutely fantastic, actually. Something really different for the SIL to offer. It's fantastic.
What I've made is, I've called Concrete Mixer. I wanted it to emulate first of all, the appearance of this weird and wonderful stuff that the Radiophonic Workshop were using in the 60s. Under the hood, it's basically a big MIDI controller controlling a computer that's behind the scenes. Delia was a pioneer in using what we would now call sampling and looping. You can just mix the loops together in ever-changing ways. The second thing is a row of buttons which just play kind of one-shot samples. And of course, the famous Coolicon lampshades. I've recorded one of those, and I can completely understand why it was a favourite of Delia's, because it sounds wonderful. It's very bell-like, very clear. On the other side, there's an actual vintage 1959 Jason AG10 tone generator, so it produces sine wave and square wave. That's what she would have played the original Doctor Who theme on. I particularly wanted something that was hands-on, that people could actually play with. There's always people around it. There seems to be a bit of a queue, so I'm really pleased that people are enjoying it.
I am a multimedia artist and I've been commissioned to make a film. It's an eco-feminist science fiction film with members of the local community. It's called Into the Glisk, and glisk or glisky in the Cumbrian dialect is when something's glittery or shiny. Just imagining if these glisks were portals to other universes. And hopefully that will incite the viewer to maybe go on these interdimensional journeys next time they wander through nature.
I was commissioned by Greencroft Arts to write a sound piece for their project Trailblazer, and I wanted to talk to local people about their experience of living in the landscape, as Delia Derbyshire lived here when she moved from London to Gilsland. I used voices quite heavily in my piece, and I referenced a lot of local flora and fauna from the area, and you can hear familiar town and village names, descriptions of walks and landmarks, but also things like rangers talking about weather days and what being outside up here is like. I also made a lot of piano samples, and I wanted to include that as a reference to Delia, who also trained as a classical pianist, and tried to weave a pathway between all these elements.
Listening to the birds sound.
We've been making small synthesizers on breadboards. We've been making 3 voice synthesizers with 3 oscillators. Yeah, it's been good fun. I think everyone's been very delighted by the kind of sounds that have been coming out of the amplifiers. So I think it's sparked a lot of people's imaginations. I've had a great time, yeah, it's been fun.
One of the things that I love about Delia is that she was incredibly technical, and despite that, the music that she makes is so full of atmosphere and heart, and it's not a dry, mechanical thing at all. And she really was a musician, but she was just determined to make music in a way that hadn't been done before. Yeah, I think it's awe-inspiring.
I think it's an incredible tribute, and I love the way that Delia Derbyshire has been focused upon, because I think she's slightly forgotten by many people. So all in all, I think it's a very, very good exhibition.
We are really excited to have such a wide range of people coming to the SIL. Not only people who live close, but other people who are more interested in electronic sound or Doctor Who. So it's been a really wide mix of people that we've enjoyed seeing coming through the door.